Good evening, everybody. My name is Cindy, and I'm here together with Tamalla, and you are watching our new show called Two Psychics, No Limits. And the No Limits stand for that we actually want to talk about anything possible, anything we have experienced ourselves. Yeah, no taboos, no limits. Is there anything else you want to add, Tamalla?
No, that's exactly right. We want to bring out of the shadow all of those things that a lot of people don't want to talk about. They've been told that they're not acceptable topics for discussion, that they're too weird, that they're too strange, they're too scary, any of that stuff. There are no limits on our show. We will talk about anything. We're going to talk about our own experiences, and we will invite you to share yours as well.
Yes, we are very much looking forward to that.
Yeah. So Cindy, tell us about you.
First of all, I'm based in Europe. I am in Switzerland, and I am an energetic stepping and wholeness counselor. So I do work with spirit, and mostly with my own team, and my own team, they're called Carla. It's a collective, and they are very much focused on the mental health of everybody, actually. And that is how I guide and can counsel with the help with them. But I also work together with other dedicated spirits like Marilyn and Ava Gardner, and there will be more ladies coming. And the reason they are coming through is, there are so many topics that we both, can talk about what we have experienced in our own lives. They experienced the same thing, or more or less the same things, when they were still alive. And it is about the whole point that it is still happening, nothing much changed, and we have to stop the cycle somewhere. And when I talk too fast, let me know, because I know I can talk fast.
You're doing great. I can understand everything. So
thank you. And the other part of what I'm doing is I do energetic work. And for this, I work together actually with my 4 best friends, and these are crystals. And I do sound healing, and every single crystal has its own tone. So I'm actually producing the tone of the crystals with my own voice. And it is a method to completely, relax your body, relax your mind, and it's an awesome experience.
That's wonderful. Yay!
Yay!
How can everybody get in touch with you?
Well, I've got 2 websites for the spirit work, or at least the mental health work. I have a website that is called Channeling Carla, and Carla is CARLA.com. And the other website that I have, purely on the energetic work, the crystals, it's called Step Forward and Become Whole.com. Sorry, I had to think about it. It's new.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I am Tamalla and I, and I am based in the United States. I'm in Georgia. And I also channel spirit. I work with the Akashic Records, and I help people clear past life and present life blocks and restrictions. I also channel Archangel Michael, Archangel Raphael, Archangel Gabriel, and I channel a group of beings called Zed. And Zed is a group that is actually doing training right now on living a congruent life. And it's a group of 4, it's a collective of 4 groups. And each one of the groups has their own specialty. So one works with sound, one works with thoughts and mental constructs. And, they all do different things. And if you're interested in checking that out, you can go to my website at info@yourownsoul. Sorry, that's my email. You can go to yourownsoul.com/Z, ZE-ED. And it's really interesting because a lot of what they're bringing in right now is about being congruent with our thoughts, with our emotions, with our actions, with our words, because that is how we're manifesting. And we're doing, manifesting is a big thing right now. I've got a manifesting blueprint training course that's going to open in October again. And it's powerful, all of the stuff that's happening in the world right now. And that's why Cindy and I wanted to start doing this show so that we can really help people connect more with who they are, with information that they need to have, to be heard, for their stories to be heard and validated, and to remove a lot of the taboos and the negativity that's around the aspects of just being human, and being human if you have special gifts.
Nicely said.
Yeah, awesome. So do you want to talk about being a psychic versus a medium?
Well, yeah, we spoke about it a little bit before, and I think there is a difference between both terms in Europe and the US, because the way how I have learned it is that a psychic is somebody who can see spirit but is not able to translate the messages. And a medium is a person who can see spirit but is able to translate the messages that they leave behind for, for their families or for their friends. So they're like, like a channel, between both worlds. So that is how I have seen this. But you have got a completely different view on the psychic and medium.
Yeah, here in the States, most of the time psychics refer to people who have connection to information that's maybe on the vibrational field, on the energy fields, information that they wouldn't normally have. And then a medium is someone who directly connects with deceased people. And that's not something that I do, which is really kind of interesting because I channel spirits, but my spirits are not like deceased family members.
Yeah.
Right? That's not what I can do. So in the States, when you said that you're a medium, that's the first question that I've always gotten is, well, my father passed away. Can you see if he has a message for me? It's like, no, that's not what I do. So what about you, Cindy?
It is for me the same thing. I can channel spirit, but I also do not see them or hear their messages. So I cannot have a conversation with somebody who passed away, like, you and I are having a conversation right now. That does not work for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does it work for you?
For me, it is about, I can feel, for me, it is more like feeling the messages. But regarding the channeling itself, like you mean like as in how that works for spirit like Carla to come in, or? Yeah. So for me, now everybody has like a spot somewhere on their physical body where spirits can come in and out. And for me, it is, I think, in my lower back. So that's why when you look at my videos on my YouTube channel, Blue Lotus, you will see me going forward. And that is how I make my soul very small, and then it leaves, and then somebody else comes in. And that is the way how I do it. How do you do it, Tamalla?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about is trance channeling.
Yes.
Where you leave your body and you allow these other spirits to come in and use your body to communicate. And that can be really scary when we first start doing that, right? I also trance channel and I leave my body. but when I leave, I usually leave out of the back of my neck.
Mm.
So I typically will lean over, and my neck is usually where the in and the out happens. But I also um, channel the Akashic Record guides and the angels, and when I do that, I'm I'm hearing what they're saying and saying it, if that makes sense. I'm not leaving my body. I'm present in my body when that happens, and I'm just translating what they're saying. And they show me pictures. I'm a visual person, so I see lots and lots of pictures. And even when I trance channel, when I come back to my body right away, I may have just some flashes of pictures, and I won't have any idea what they relate to or anything, and they fade pretty quickly, like fade away. But that's one of the main ways how they communicate. And you see pictures too?
I do. Well, actually, not that often. When Carla comes through and they speak, it is for me, I see a black screen.
Mm-hmm.
So when people are sometimes they try to ask Carla, "Oh, my husband passed away. You know, can you feel if he has a message?" So they try it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I do see pictures coming through, but what you said, like, you know, after conversation, you do not remember this, because for us it is both not happening consciously, right? So because we are outside of the body, we don't remember anymore what actually has been said. What I do remember is the feeling. So when somebody is, even though when it is happening over Skype or Zoom or, you know, not in person,
Mm-hmm.
when a person is sad and we talk about, I don't know, what is happening at this moment that they need to address, and Carla shows them a different angle or a different view to look at a certain situation, and they feel happy. I remember that. So I remember the transition from being sad to happy, you know?
That's
And yeah, that's what I remember afterwards. And when clients are talking about or they picking up certain parts of the conversation, then it triggers more and more stuff. They're like, oh, this is what you have been talking about. But when you do not, then I will also not remember.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. There was something else I want to say, but I forgot. Please go ahead.
That's all right. We're going to be doing this every 2 weeks or twice a month, so we're going to have lots of time to remember things. Yeah, you know, it's interesting because when this last week when I was doing the training with Zed, they told me before they started that we were going to practice blending. And that's something they've been talking to me about for probably 6 months. And
Mm.
I've been waiting for it. And so this last Tuesday, they said, okay, we're going to blend tonight. And what that looked like was I would be talking like I got to stay in my body, which is new because usually when I work with them, I don't. I leave my body and they come in. And so I stayed in my body, and I would start speaking, and I would close. I usually when I'm channeling, when I'm in my body, I close my eyes so I can hear better. Right? It stimulates. I can see the pictures they're showing me, and I can hear the words better. And so, you know, I usually keep my eyes closed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would do that, and then they started speaking. And what happens is it's really interesting because they have a different tone of voice. Of course, with Zed, there's 4 of them, so they have 4 different voices, but they have different inflections. They say words differently. They linger on vowels and consonants differently than I do. And so it was really interesting for me to be present with that, for me to be talking, and then they start talking, and then for me to start talking again. And it was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Super nice. But do you also, when you do that with the blending, do you realize who is talking?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was 100% present. But it's interesting because you know how right when spirit comes in, right when they're in the room, like they're in the room right now.
Yeah.
it kind of feels like a little bit heavy, right? And not heavy in a bad way, but like there's a presence here,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
then you kind of get a little lightheaded, right? Or I do. I get a little lightheaded and just a little bit fuzzy, like I've had a glass of wine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually when the transition happens. That's when I get lightheaded, it's like, okay, tag, I'm going to tag out, you're going to tag in, right?
Uh-huh.
But during the blending session, I got lightheaded, but we didn't tag out. We both stayed. And it was really different. And I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This sounds a very nice feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. And, one of the things that I think is important for psychics or people who are trying to work with spirit, because I think all of us can talk to spirit in some way,
Mm-hmm.
is to be in control of our ego and to be in control of our own thought process and be able to get out of the way.
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing that I had to learn, was to get out of the way. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you start thinking, right, you're thinking, you're not channeling, right?
Yes.
And so it was huge. That was a big learning process for me. And now I do it so organically.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I was talking and they were talking, even when I was talking, I was channeling what they were teaching, but I was being allowed to teach it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. To me, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was really interesting.
Super. I remember now what I want to say.
Okay.
Um, when we, so for example, when I trance channel Carla, I see, I see like a black screen, and I think what a lot of people are having the experience with, maybe like with a medium, that if you ask a person who passed away, can you say what I've done yesterday, or do you know what I said, on this and this day? I just want to say that, because I do not have those abilities, then spirits who come through do not have these abilities either, because they work, yeah, you have got the same.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because they work with your, with your body. This is our vehicle, and if my vehicle is not open to people who passed away, then Carla cannot do that either, because they are working with your skills.
Exactly. And they work for your purpose.
Yeah.
Like all of the beings that I channel, they align perfectly with my message and what I'm here to help with. Like I'm an empowerment coach. That's what I do.
Yeah.
All of my work is about personal empowerment. It's about removing blocks and restrictions, gathering the positive things that you want, learning how to manifest, learning how to be empowered and take control of your experience. And so every being that I channel is aligned with that. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And so like I channel Archangel Michael, and the information that comes from Michael through me is about empowerment. It's not going to be about other things, because that's not my channel. Just what you said, right? It's not what I do. Archangel Michael can be channeled through 1,000 different people and have 1,000 different messages through those people, but they all still are accurate and aligned, because we're all multifaceted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course the angels are, the guides are, the beings are. And so it's important for us to know, just because my message from Michael is different from yours or from somebody else's, that doesn't invalidate the messages. It just means they're channeling the information that's aligned for them. Just like you said, not only aligned for their body, but aligned for their soul purpose.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I've got the same with Carla, but also with, the ladies who are coming through, such as Marilyn and Ava. we are so focused, or at least it is my interest, my interest is in really like the mind. This is what I already had when I was a child, wondering why would a person make this kind of choice and not another choice, or actually finding out that some people do not even realize they have a choice. So for me, that is the interesting part, the psychology behind it. And Carla is very much focused on, um, they want to know. They want to know your fears. They want to know your insecurities. If somebody actually wants to, set up their own business, talking about myself, I also had to learn, as in, okay, don't be afraid. Everything is going to be okay, and manifest in such a way. But I had to remove all those layers of fears, of not being able to do this, or I had to work on myself too. And that's exactly what Carla is doing.
Mm-hmm. And that's awesome. Yeah. And it's interesting because I don't know if Carla does this with you, but Zed will use me as an example when trying to teach things. And so they out me all the time. they're telling all of my stuff when I'm doing it. But, I've agreed to that. And so like in that class on Tuesday, they gave an example of something that they've been working with me about, and they took me through the entire process. Used me as an example, so everybody could go through the process and bring in whatever their thing was, and we did it all together. And it's really interesting that I had to learn how to not be self-conscious about all of the garbage that I've been through, right? And about all of the stuff I still have to go through, because I'm not perfect. I still have baggage. I still have triggers. I still have things that upset me, right? And I get my feelings hurt, and my ego pops in from time to time, and all these things happen. And it's funny because when you're channeling spirit and you allow them to use you as an example, you don't have any secrets anymore.
No, exactly.
Because they'll tell on you in a heartbeat. And it keeps it real, which I love, because it's people can't relate to somebody who's perfect, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want that. Like, I don't want to learn from a teacher who's perfect. I want to learn from somebody who's gone through some stuff, right?
Yeah, because they can relate or resonate with you much easier. Yeah.
So, what's the next thing you want to talk about? Let's talk about what happens to our bodies when we channel.
Oh, yeah. So my body, I'm freezing my butt off. If I can be that open and honest, I'm freezing. Because, at least in my experience, spirit has a different temperature than I have, because I'm in my body, I've got a body temperature, and spirit is much colder. And maybe even, the ones who are listening, maybe you have experienced this yourself as well, that you are somewhere in a room, the windows are closed, you're just reading, and suddenly there's this ice cold wind passing by, or you feel like a chill on your arm. You're like, what is this? Because the windows are closed, it is summer, it cannot be, but it is spirit, spirit that passes by, or maybe even touches you or anything. I don't want to freak out anybody, but it is my own experience. So when I'm channel, I will make sure that I wear, something cozy. For example, with Carla, or at least I dress up with a warm, thick sweater, because I know they will be very cold.
That's really interesting. Go ahead. That was really interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and then with Marilyn, Marilyn doesn't really matter. She actually just prefers me to, I think we come into that later, but she has different requirements. So I think I feel less cold. My body feels less cold when Marilyn comes in. But with Carla, I'm freezing. Yeah.
And where is Carla from? Where does she? And tell us a little bit more about Carla. They're a group. They're a group as well, right? A collective.
Yeah, yeah. And what I know so far is it is a mix. So it is a mix of incarnates. So people who have, come down to Earth or to another planet and they left and they are on this reincarnation cycle. And the other half has never incarnated. So you can compare those with archangels or any other beings who have never incarnated into a planet. So the first time when I channeled, for example, Carol, that is my main guide, she has never incarnated. And for her, I remember it was a challenge to use my body because she was not used to use something restricted, because our body, it is super small for spirit. Yeah, it is super small, and she was having difficulties with it. Like, how do I even move? It really looked like as if I would be a robot, So I do feel the difference when the team who has incarnated speak and when the non-incarnated part speaks, because the incarnated ones, they feel very comfortable in the body and they can speak and they are more fluent and more smooth, and the non-incarnated part speak slower and they take their time and they actually hardly move. And when they're both coming together, it will be somewhere there in the middle.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. What happens to your body when you channel?
Well, I get really hot, which is funny because
Yeah.
I am hot natured anyway, and I'm 49 years old. So I'm kind of like perimenopausal too. So I have hot flashes from time to time. That may be too much information, but it's true. Remember, no shadow.
No shadow, no limits.
Nothing's off limits. And so when spirit comes in, like when they get close, like I had said before, they get close and it feels kind of heavy. And when I leave, it's like the sun. It's like light is what it feels like. And to me, light is warm because I live in the South. I live in Georgia, and so the sun is freaking hot.
Yeah.
And I think that may be my association with light. Is because it's so hot here that light equals heat. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense. Yeah.
And so it could be how my body's interpreting it, but literally, my temperature goes way up. 2-3 degrees. Over 100, and I always have to keep 2 containers of drinks because they have me drinking all the time because I'm so hot. And then when they leave, I'm still hot, for a little while. It takes a while, half an hour, 45 minutes or so, for my body temperature to come back down to normal. Yeah. And I think it's awesome that we have different experiences.
Yeah. It is not the same for everybody.
No, it's not. And it's awesome.
Yes.
All right. Do you do anything special to prepare your body before you channel?
I do drink a lot of water. I do that because I believe it helps the channeling. It becomes easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I notice as well that when I come out of the trance channeling, my brain's a little bit like dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to drink a certain amount of water beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But for the rest, no, I just eat normally. When I'm hungry, I eat. It is not that I can trance channel on a very full stomach. That is not a problem. Yeah, but I'm not really, putting a lot of focus on what I should eat or should not eat. Of course, I should not have the food that I'm intolerant to.
Right. Right.
Because then my body would feel very uncomfortable.
Right.
But I would, for sure, I would not take any alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah. No alcohol, no drugs.
No.
It's already spacey enough, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I don't, other than the liquids, you know, that's really the big thing. And it's, for me, it's like I'd have to drink a lot of water before, but I drink probably 32 ounces worth of water in a channeling too. So I mean, I'm gulping water the whole time. So and it's funny because when it's over, when the channeling's over, and you know everybody wants to visit, and I want to get feedback and all of that other stuff. It's like, y'all tell me what happened because I wasn't here, right? It's always, I'll be right back, because I'm gallon of water, I gotta go pee before. Like, I can't do the feedback right now. I'll be back, right? And that happens in person, if we're doing it in person, or if it's online, because I mean I've been gulping this water, right?
Yeah.
And so that's funny, I think.
But when you trance channel and you drink a lot of water, do you notice that because you sweat a lot that everything comes out of your pores, or do you have the feeling that you're actually releasing the water somehow?
No, and it's that's a great question. I've never really paid attention to that. The only thing I know is usually my bladder is so full it hurts. It's usually all I know. It's like, okay, I'm back. I got to go pee. Yeah. But I don't know. Like, I don't notice anything else.
Yeah.
But I've never paid attention. So I'll pay attention.
Okay.
Maybe there is. I just haven't noticed.
Mm-mm.
Do you have to wear certain clothes?
Depends on who I channel.
Yeah?
Yes. Carla doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
I did, you know, in the beginning, I wore white clothes. And then I did feel the difference when I wear white clothes, that it is easier for spirit to come in. But nowadays, Carla is not really interested in what I'm wearing. They are able to come into my body, and they say whatever they have to say, but it is not that I have to pay attention to a certain color or a fabric or anything. When it comes to Marilyn prefers to have like a pink blouse or pink shoes. And there's also what I noticed is when I channeled first another being before Marilyn, I do feel a difference when she comes in and I don't have any glitter on me. So not the earrings or the bracelets. I do feel that she's holding a bit back. So as soon as I, or at least my body is wearing the glitter, then she feels more comfortable. And then she starts to share, because that is for her, you know, having the glitter is something that is part of herself, right? So she feels more comfortable in talking, and she'll be more open. So it really depends on who it is. And with Eva, when she came through the very first time, I'm not a smoker. I really do not like smoking. But when she came through to my body, I needed a cigarette.
Wow.
I was like, my hands are empty. I just need a cigarette and something else to hold in my hands. So I've got one video that I uploaded on my channel where I channel Eva, and she is holding a cigarette. I will never light it. They know, because they know I'm not smoking.
Right.
It is also, you know, spirits, they respect your boundaries. If you are saying I don't want to smoke, then they say, then we don't do it.
Yeah.
You are always in charge, you know. if you say yeah, because there are also stories out there that, you know, spirits are taking over a body or anything. At least in my experience, if I don't want to, they're not coming in either.
Right.
And when I think that if it never happened, but just in case, if it would happen in the future, and I think that the conversation is not going in a direction that it should go, I can always interrupt and put my soul back in and say, okay, conversation is over, because I also want to protect my team, right? Because
Yeah.
we are working together. So yeah, I'm always in charge.
Yeah. And that's important because it makes it, number one, less scary.
Yeah.
And it's an empowering process, and it's a partnership, but
Yes.
you're still the boss.
Yeah.
And it makes a huge difference. I know it did make me feel a whole lot more comfortable once I realized that, and that I was able to set the parameters.
Yeah.
And set the rules, and then they have to follow those rules or they can't come and they can't
Yeah.
stay. And I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have different poses, right? The bodies sit a certain way depending on who you're channeling.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which one is the one that crosses her legs?
Oh, that's Marilyn.
Yeah. It looks very Marilyn.
It also, I think, depends on the chair that I'm sitting on. So most of the times I sit on a chair that she cannot move her legs, you know, very easily. So she sits there. But when I would have a chair that would be lower, then she's, you know, she stretches, or at least my legs. I just say hers.
Mm-hmm.
And she's way more, she moves a lot. And I've noticed that during one of the workshops that I did. And she's just, you know, she's just all about fun, and she's like, she's very playful.
Mm-hmm.
And also, let's say that she flirts, but it is not flirting as in, you know, that it feels uncomfortable. It is more like doing a gesture. I cannot do it. It is not me, but she does it very, like, in a very feminine way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the Marilyn is the one who sits cross-legged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved it when you said if there's glitter there, she feels more free. And I just kind of heard that she feels welcome. You know, she feels welcome if there's glitter there.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really
I
cool.
love her.
Well, and she's got a lot of wisdom too.
Yeah.
Which I think people would be interested in hearing, because they don't necessarily equate the reputation of Marilyn as being a female full of wisdom, right?
Yeah.
She was, but she has a lot of great stuff to share.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I feel that when we're doing the videos, it feels to me still, you know, when I record a video and Spirit would like to talk, it is different than you and I are talking, because there's feedback coming back, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then now you have to share a message, and you have to say it in such a way as if you're talking to somebody else and they're going to listen.
Right.
And where am I going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this sorry. So when Marilyn speaks, I feel that she is just sharing a little bit of what she wants to share. There's so much more out there, but we are building it up step by step to let people, you know, get used to what she is being sharing until now. It is also that there's so much out there about her, either in the magazines or in the books, and there will be different kind of information in here, and there will be different kind of information up there. So people already have a certain view about her.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it is really like, no, this is me. I want to say something because it is what I would like to say, not because there's an agent in between saying, oh, Marilyn, you cannot speak about that because that is not the image that people have of you. You cannot share. So she always had the feeling that she was like You had to cut some information somewhere.
Right. Yeah. That's awesome that she has the freedom now to say whatever she wants.
Yeah, and I believe it is for all the other girls too, because in the old days, I don't know how it works when you are having an agent, nowadays and back then. But back then they were very much like controlled, as in what Marilyn also said. When I was in pain, like either a divorce or when she lost a child, she had to go outside with a bright smile because that is what people would see of Marilyn. Marilyn always smiles, is always sexy, is always, very feminine. And that is exactly what she needed to display to the outside world. But
Right.
it's not how she felt inside. And it's also not who she was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important.
Mm-mm.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have that as well when you channel Zed?
Well, like for clothes, I don't have to wear any certain thing, but like they will pick out their favorite outfit sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Raphael, I was gifted. Raphael and I was gifted a necklace
Nice.
that um, it's Raphael's necklace, and I get to wear it. That's how.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when I'm channeling Raphael, they want to wear the necklace.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's preonine, which is it's a green stone. It's beautiful, and they love that. And so sometimes they'll pick out an outfit. Zed typically doesn't really care what I wear as long as it's comfortable and as long as I can move, because they like me talk with my hands, right? And they
Mm-hmm.
talk with my hands, and they do all of this stuff, and so they just want to make sure that I'm comfortable. And if I'm doing it in person, they like me to sit close to the floor so that I'm grounded. Like I don't have to sit on the floor, but like on a low stool or something like that, on sit low.
Yeah.
And it's because they're grounding in excuse me, they're grounding in a lot of information that hasn't been here before, and so it needs to be close to the ground so it can root in, if that makes sense.
Oh, yes.
And
Very
so
nice.
they want me to be closer to the ground. That's really the only thing. Michael, when I channel Michael, you were saying it was hard for Carol to be in your body, right?
Yeah.
When Michael comes in, he used to always say, it's too small in here. It's too small in here. And it's like, and I would always get this picture of like the very tip of his little tiny, uh,
Pink.
pinky finger, like the very tip is what was coming into my, just that much. And it was
Wow.
too small. And so, and I actually went through some physical expansions, which may sound kind of weird, but were no limits.
Mm-hmm.
The top of my head, my crown chakra actually got bigger, and
Mm-hmm.
I woke up one morning and I knew that was happening in my sleep time, because like I was participating with it. And when I woke up in the morning, there was like a little blood on my scalp. I mean, they were making not bad, but they were making room. And my throat, after I channel Michael, my throat is always sore because my throat's still too small.
Mm.
And when I say him, Michael comes through as a collective also. Michael and Raphael and Gabriel are collective angels. There's a group, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I usually call them they. But Raphael usually comes in really sweet and really loving and really comfortable, right? And I don't know if it's because they're in charge of healing or in comfort, but it's always comfortable. I never feel anything negative. I never have any negative physical experiences. I usually always feel recharged and refreshed after. But Michael still, because I channeled him a week or so ago, And it's the power of his voice, I think, that comes through.
Mm.
And and my throat's sore for a day or two after. So
Yeah.
I'm still getting used to that one. And Zed, they could, yeah, I don't have any problems or feel any discomfort with them. What they do is they think teeth are hysterical.
Oh, okay.
So, and like kind of like Carla, with the 4 groups, they have had at least one person in each group that has incarnated on every planet in our system, in our universe. So they have, you know, lots of beings that have incarnated, but there's also lots of them that haven't.
Yeah.
And so, but they need that blending so that you can have the above, the below, the incarnated, the non-incarnate, the expansive and the limited, right? They need all of that so that they can help us with the things that we're moving towards. And they couldn't do that if somebody hadn't been here, right? If part of the collective had been here, they would know what it took to help us, right?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that when they come in, when Zed comes in, they always mess with my teeth. They play with my teeth. They'll taunt my teeth because they think teeth are hysterical.
Okay.
And they've said in one channeling that they have members that have been, everywhere, and very few incarnated beings have teeth.
Oh, I didn't know.
So they're like, they're fascinated. And so that's one way, I think, when we're blending too, is how the shift happens. Because when I was talking, then they kind of, and then it was their turn. You know what I mean? And I'd be talking, and then go, and then it was their turn. I didn't realize that till just now, but that was probably an indicator, because they think they're hysterical.
Yeah, but do they feel awkward or comfortable inside of your body, or also like limited?
No, Zed feels really comfortable. And it doesn't matter which ones it is, whether it's, the 2 feminine or yin, or the 2 masculine or yang, it doesn't matter. They feel really comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael's really the only one that's really still uncomfortable. And he just always keeps saying, there's not enough room.
Yeah. Ah, poor thing.
Look, I'm as big as I'm going to get. So, so we're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah. I just actually want to say is, when we, at least is how I see it, maybe you've got a different view, Tamalla, but when I trance channel, my body can handle it because of the amount of energy that comes in. So when your body is not able to handle a lot of energy, then most likely you will not be able as well to let another being coming through.
Or you'll be exhausted when it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first started doing the Akashic Records work, it was exhausting. I would go into the records and be there an hour, and I'd be exhausted, and I'd have to go take a nap. And I've slowly, over the last 5 years, built up my tolerance, my energy level, whatever. And I can stay in the records now for 10, 12 hours at a time.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, because it's just, you get used to it and you build it up. But it took like maybe 6 months for me to be able to stay in for, 3 hours at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I do, 5-hour readings in the Akashic Records. Well, it's an hour and a half of prep, then 5 hours for the reading, and then an hour and a half for the clearing process, and the homework and all that other stuff that I do. So, it's an 8-hour process for me.
Yeah.
And when I'm done, I'm still energized. I'm still healthy. I'm still, I'm just fine. The only thing is I have to remember to log out, because sometimes I'll forget to log out.
What do
And
you mean with log out? Log out of the records, or?
yeah, log out of the records. Because what happens is when I go to the Akashic Records, I actually go to the records, and I will log into the records, right? Make my request and get admittance, right? Because not everybody can go in, and you got to have a reason to be there and all that kind of stuff, right?
Okay.
So I'm allowed entrance, and then when I get in, I will, if I'm doing a reading for someone or myself, I'll log into their records. And there's certain information that I have to have in order to do that. And so I'll log into their records, and it's kind of like I always have this visual of standing inside of a library, right? It's like I go in the front door at the lobby of the library, and I'm standing there. And the librarian says, yes, can I help you? And I say, yes, I want to, access the records for this person. And I give them all the information. And they go, okay, I'll be right back. And then that person's Akashic Record guides will come out into the lobby. And they're with me, like my Akashic guides are there, and their guides are there. And then I read them their intention. And then their guides actually will bring forward all the information that's based on whatever their intention is. And so I don't actually go inside their records, but I have access to the information, if that makes sense, through their guides. Yeah. And so when we do the clearing at the end of the reading, I read the clearing request to their Akashic Record guides, but their guides are the ones that go in and do all the clearing. But what happens is I'll do all that. I'll do the prep, I'll do the reading, I'll do the homework, I'll do the clearing, and I smudge my room, right? I clear out my space. And then I'll come upstairs for dinner because it's 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, right? And I've been working all day. And sometimes I will forget to leave the library. Like I'll still be in there. And my beloved and I'll start talking, and I'll be kind of ditzy. You know what I mean? Kind of like not 100% here.
Yeah.
And he's figured it out now, because sometimes he'll say, did you log out?
He noticed.
Yeah, because it is noticeable. And so I'll go, no, wait a minute. And what I have to do is, I log out of their records, which I've already done, but it's logging out of the Akashic Records themselves that I haven't done. And so what I'll do is I'll, just center myself, acknowledge everything that happened, offer gratitude and thanks, and then thank my guides, which have been there the whole time too. And then I log out, and I physically feel myself, like a piece of myself went into the records, right? And so I feel that piece of myself come back into my chest. And it's funny because if I just come back into my chest, that doesn't do it. I'm not all the way home. I have to go all the way down to my body and grab my feet and then stand up inside my body to be back. And it's really interesting. And then when I do that, I'm like, I'm grounded again. I'm back. So do you find that you have to do something like that when you, when you come back into your body?
Not consciously, no. When they leave and I come back in, there will be a short moment where things are like fuzzy, because I will need to get adjusted to my body again, and because of their energy, their energy has been in my body. That it takes some time to actually remove it.
Yeah.
And I'm actually very much high on energy after workshop, or having a session. I can easily stay awake for 2-3 hours, and I'm just almost running, you know, within my own apartment, because there's so much energy in my body that I do not know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm very much high on energy after a session. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how many sessions do you usually do in a day?
Not at the moment, not too many. Not too many, unfortunately. But yeah, I would like to do more.
How many would you like to do a day?
Well, actually, oh, that's a good question, because I've done days where I had 2 or 3 sessions, but they were all in the evening because of the time difference.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2 or 3 in the evening is for me doable. But I never really actually asked myself how many I want to have, because also now my body got adjusted to the amount of energy that Carla uses. So maybe I can do more. I've you know, not have done more than 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I can easily do a workshop for 3 hours, no problem. I can actually do longer, but then of course maybe the participants are getting tired because of the amount of information that they're getting in.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-mm.
When I do the Akashic work, of course, that's just, you know, one a day because it's so long. But then I do the one-on-one coaching, and I do those by the hour. And I can do about 5 of those a day.
Yeah.
Because I like to have about a 30 to 45-minute break between them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just in case it runs over a little bit. And so I can go potty afterwards and, you know, all of that. So that's pretty much a full day. You
Yeah.
know, it's like a 9-hour, you know, if you separate it like that.
Do you meditate beforehand as well?
I do my grounding. I ground, I connect into Mother Earth, I connect into Source. I bring both of those in. I clear out anything that that doesn't need to be here, right? I release everything that no longer serves me. I put in my my bubble, and I wrap my bubble in and close it up and seal it. And then that's my practice. What do you do?
I do meditate beforehand, and I take normally like 15 minutes. And that is where I concentrate on the person itself. And I connect my heart to the other person's heart, just to already make a connection. And then the session goes much easier and much smoother than when I don't do the meditation. But I also want to say that during that meditation, I also, you know, protect myself with a white bubble of white light, but also the other person. So nothing else can happen during the session. So we are like both protected.
Right, right. Yeah. When I do the sessions, it's the same thing. If it's an Akashic record one, of course, I've done the prep work before. But if I'm doing the one-on-one sessions, you know, the 1-hour sessions, my connection happens when they talk to me.
Okay.
Even when I do a group, like I'll do a group channeling with Zed or Michael or Raphael or whoever, and they always give a teaching first, and then they ask for questions, and they will connect with that person when that person speaks. It's like permission. It's permission to go into their energy at that time, you know? Yeah. And so that connection gets made for me then. And I don't meditate beforehand, because it's like I don't have that permission. Does that make sense? Even though I know I do, because they've scheduled the appointment.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the once we start talking, it's like boom, we're connected. And it's always my guides are there, their guides are there. And it's a group effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I love that we do it differently.
Yeah, me too. And that is also why we're also doing those videos, just to, you know, show everybody and let everybody know everybody is different, and you've got a unique way to do trance channeling. I have a different way and a unique way. So you can also not really, I think that maybe is valid throughout the entire, actually everything that we are doing. You cannot tell anybody what to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to go too deep into certain areas, but you cannot tell somebody what to do. You can only guide them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it is up to you and it's up to me what feels comfortable and what is it that I will need to do. It is not to somebody else to say what I should do.
Exactly. And that's a great point. I don't tell the future. And
No, me neither.
none of my guides tell the future.
Yes.
Because what they've said to me and to other people who've asked, tell me, am I going to win the lottery? Stuff like that, or, am I going to get this job? They're like, you've got a whole lot of choices that you need to make between where you are right now and this thing that you want.
Yeah.
And there is no 100% that that's going to happen, because you're going to be making choices. So it's up to you whether you're going to win the lottery. It's up to you whether you're going to get that job, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we can't tell you what that's going to be because you haven't made those choices yet.
Yeah.
And I had a lady one time get really pissed off. And I was trance channeling, so I had left the building, right? And Zed was there. And she lost it. And she started yelling at Zed. If you were really psychic, you would be able to tell me, blah, 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 right? She was really ugly. And Zed was so sweet the whole time. They were like, you haven't made those choices yet.
Yeah.
If you want us to help you create the path so that you can have this thing that you want, we'll help you do that.
Yeah.
We're not going to tell you that you're going to get it. And she's yelling again. And they said, okay, if you're not going to do any actions to get there, the answer is no. You're not going to. Not going to happen. But if you want to get it, we will help you get there, right?
Yes.
But she was so pissed. And what I realized afterwards, because I listened to the recording, because she hung up the phone before I even came back into my body.
No.
Yeah. And I came back to my body and I was like, well, what happened? And so I had to listen to the recording, and I was appalled. It hurt my feelings, and it was like, wow, this is a sacred process, and you were just snarky, ugly, nasty, right? And, it was like, wow, I don't ever want that to happen again. And so I actually have in my information that goes out to people when they schedule, they are not going to tell your future, right? Because I don't want, now that was a free session that she had. And if it wasn't, I would have given her her money back. Because, it wasn't what she thought it was going to be. But I have that now. I know to say that now. And I know to say that in my speech before I get started, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I hadn't have had that experience, I guess I wouldn't have known to say that. But that's also why it's really important for me to also say I'm a psychic and not a medium.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know things that your dad did. I don't know that. And just because I don't know that doesn't mean I'm not psychic. It just means that's not my kind of psychic. Right?
Yeah, you tap into a different field of information.
Yeah. So
I think it is also a point where a lot of people, when not all people, including myself, struggle with, because we have always, when we are growing up, you have always been told what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that is also something that Carla is doing during those sessions. They want you to become self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to connect with your heart, so you know what the next steps are, because you all have the answer. You all have the answers, but we are so disconnected that we don't even know how to listen to our hearts. And yes, it is painful at first, because you need to clear out stuff, what's in there.
Mm-hmm.
My heart has been broken in I don't know how many pieces. I had to, fix it. I needed to get rid of all the pain and all the sadness and all the anger to
Yeah.
actually find my way back into, getting in touch with my heart. And I'm not going to say it is a very easy road. I'm not going to say how long it will take, because that is for everybody different.
Right.
But we are so much up in our heads, in our minds, that you are actually asking somebody else, what should I do next? Shall
Right.
I buy today a lottery ticket, or shall I do that next week?
Right. And that's disempowering. You're
Yeah.
abdicating your own responsibility.
Yeah, you're giving your power away to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. But like you said, we've kind of been programmed to do that.
Yeah.
Somebody tell me what's good for me. Somebody else tell me. And there's a difference between getting coaching or asking for assistance to get you back on the path, to clear blocks and restrictions, to heal old wounds, right? That's different. And you're learning how to be mentally and emotionally disciplined, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All of that we have to learn, and having someone guide us through the process is a wonderful thing, as long as that person is guiding you through the process, so that when you get to the end, you are empowered, not that you're
Yes.
still going to need to be coming back to this person all the time.
Yeah.
That's not empowerment. And
No.
what I tell my coaching clients is, my intention is to work myself out of a job, because I want you to be empowered to the point where you don't need me anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely with you. I completely with you, because that is also what Carla said at the beginning. I do not need to be here, or at least we do not need to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You already have the tools, but how I see it is like we are all like an onion, or the core piece.
Yeah.
This is where we are whole. This is the part where we're all whole, and then we are all layered by anger and frustration and insecurities and sadness and all these other shit that actually, um, prevents us to get into our own wholeness.
Exactly.
And you have to get rid of all that stuff first.
Mm-hmm.
It is like, you are covered by a lot of blankets and you're on the bottom, and you need to get rid of all those blankets first to say,
That's
like,
exactly
oh, here
right.
I am.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it is, for me, I find it, it is good for you and I that we went through this process ourselves, or still actually going through the process, is in like, who am I and how strong I am. But when we're going to discuss more life experiences. But I want to say that when you go through or actually process a certain hardship or something that was really painful, you learn so much about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So much. And then you were like, well, at the end you can say, yes, has been very painful, but when you look afterwards at it, you can say, but I survived it.
Yeah.
I survived it, and I did it, and I'm still here.
Right. And this is what I learned.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going to do differently in the future.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you learn from it, but we have to go through the painful parts first to actually understand what did we learn from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Spirit just said, well, you don't have to go through it, but you've convinced yourselves y'all have to go through the pain first. But you really don't have to. But because you're not aware, then you don't have to.
Yeah.
It's the process. Everybody around you is suffering, so you must need to have to suffer too to go through and get your breakthrough.
Yeah.
And it's not true. It's just what we've all bought into.
Yeah. And that's the sad part, that we have actually agreed and accepted that we all should suffer.
Yeah.
But that is not normal.
No, and then that paradigm is shifting, right? It's shifting right now. We're moving into that sacred union, sacred partnership, where everything doesn't have to be difficult anymore, where there doesn't have to be the struggles and the pain and the bullshit, right? We don't have to have all of that anymore.
Yeah.
It's gonna take effort for all of us to do our own work.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
Very
enjoyed
nice.
this so much.
I think we got a little bit off topic.
Well, that's okay. I think it's worthwhile, right?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing these every 2 weeks. I am going to post it on my YouTube channel. Cindy's going to post it on her YouTube channel, and we're going to have a Two Psychics No Limits YouTube channel. And you'll be able to contact Cindy at, is it info at trance.carla.com?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And you can reach me at info@yourownsoul.com. And when I edit, I'll write those in down at the bottom so that you can do those. And in the future, we're also going to do some live, whether they're on Facebook or YouTube Live. So make sure that you subscribe to our channels so that you get notifications when we are live, because we would love to take questions. And we are going to get into a whole lot of stuff. Today's video was really about getting to know us and how we do things. But we really plan to get into some serious issues, some funny issues, some things that will shake us up and shift out the stuff that no longer serves, so that we can really embody what we came here to embody in a big and powerful way. Yeah. Cindy, do you have anything else to add?
No, this was beautifully said. Thank you very much, Tamalla.
You're welcome. So we will talk with you soon. Remember to subscribe. And if you want an appointment with either one of us, email us directly. Talk with you next time.
See you.